Well, hello there, friend. When you think of joy, what comes to mind? Anything of the last 2 years? Okay, so how can we create our own joy? And why is it that sometimes joyful people are so irritating? These are the questions I pondered and probed with my gal pal, Yolanda Gray, on today's podcast. And spoiler alert, Yolanda said that joy is something deep in our spirit, that we can create it in relationship, and that gratitude is key because, as she learned from one of her mentors, you can't be hateful if you're always grateful. It's my hope that you will be deeply encouraged by our conversation and take away at least one idea about how to invite more joy into your life, no matter the circumstances you're facing right now. By the way, I always ask my guests to take my quick quiz to determine their nail color persona and what their fave nail color reveals about them. It's a fun way to get to know them before we dive into our conversation more. You can take the What's My Nail Color Persona quiz too. Just go to livelikeyournailcolor.com/quiz. Or you can use my handy shortcut, mynailcolorpersona.com. You just answer 3 quick questions, and in your result, discover your specific nail color persona, your built-in strengths, and how to tap into those strengths when chip happens. Again, just go to livelikeyournailcolor.com/quiz. Now, let's get talking with Yolanda.
Tired of so much chip happening? Discouraged by so much downer news? Weary from chronic crisis? Don't let the chips keep you down. Welcome to the Live Like Your Nail Color podcast, where the tips of your fingers and toes are ready to inspire you to not give up and to keep creating the business, career, and life you want. In each episode, we flip the chip and let our fun nail color with that crazy fun name cheer us on to remember our strengths, embrace the power of choice, see life as an adventure, and know resilience is only a touch-up or change-up away. Get ready for a good time and a good laugh with your host, Mary Foley.
Hey again, nail color loving gals. So great to be with you again. Hey, here's a question I bet no one has asked you lately. What joy have you experienced in the last 2 years? You might be thinking, joy? How about oh boy instead? Well, today's gal pal Yolanda started the pandemic party like the rest of us, feeling like, oh boy, this stinks. This is hard. And through her own circumstances and journey, she has learned to find a new level of joy. If that's not living like your nail color, I don't know what is. And I can't wait for you to meet her and be inspired. But first, let me tell you a little bit about her. Yolanda Gray is a certified professional life coach with a Bachelor in Science and Human Development and a Master of Arts in Human Relations. For over 20 years, she's been facilitating workshops, leading retreats, speaking at events, and coaching women in the areas of personal and spiritual growth, as well as in alcohol and codependence recovery. And through it all, she inspires you, me, and all women to take back your life from chaos, anxiety, stress, and more. And I'm so glad she's with us today. Yolanda, welcome to the Live Like Your Nail Color podcast.
Mary, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here to talk about one of my favorite subjects.
I am excited to have you here too, right? It's going to be a joyful time. It's going to be a happy time. We're going to have always a good time. I always like to say that the Live Like Your Nail Color podcast is moments of lightheartedness with some good people talking about having good conversations and at a good time, right? So that's what we're going to do today. So before we get into the really juicy stuff about joy, I asked you to take my quiz called What is Your Nail Color Persona? Because I always like to find out, what are all my gal pals guests, their nail color persona. And I want to know if it nailed you. So what did the quiz turn out to say about you?
Well, I turned out, and I knew this. I am glitter.
A glitter gal.
I am a glitter gal. And everything that it says, I don't know how you nailed this, but it's so true. especially the parts that when too much chip happens, you can start to feel down, lose your shine or your joy, and retreat from others. Don't let the chips keep you down. I love that. That is me. That's me.
Okay, so that's when the chips get you down or start to get you down. But on the other side, the glitter gal is the one who walks into a room or is virtually on a conversation and is lighting things up, right?
Exactly. And what I wanted to share was that I've learned how to overcome that feeling down through my own personal growth. So yeah, but when I saw it, said you add sparkle and enthusiasm to everything you do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's been my experience with you. And you also like to wear things with a little bling. Just saying.
Always.
Right.
I know. I thought I'd grow out of that, but I haven't.
I have a sister who lives in Texas, right? So we all grew up in Virginia. She goes to Texas. She's like, it's all about the bling in Texas, Mary.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit more. So I've gotten several gifts at Christmas with bling on them on purpose, which I think is pretty hilarious. You like to have a little sparkle on your nails because I've seen it like glitter literally on your nails or shimmer. Always a little reflection. I love that. I love that. Okay. So also in the quiz, it asks about your favorite go-to color. Now, I know not every gal wants the same color all the time, but usually there's a go-to color that you get drawn to. What is that color? And did that speak to you as well?
Absolutely. Pink, of course. If you ever see any of my stuff, it's pink. And I wear pink a lot. And I wear pink on my nails too. Pink glittery stuff on my nails.
All right. Well, if it come out green, I would have really been like, I don't know if you answered correctly. Okay. Because I know you well enough to go. That's what I'm saying. If it did not turn out as pink and you said green, I'd be like, I don't think you're being right here.
Well, and this is so funny because I put that green color on and I thought I would like it. And I didn't.
But you tried it. So I love that.
Yeah.
I love
it. I did.
So what is it about the pink color description that resonated with you?
Chatty, friendly, and fun.
Ooh, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do get along well with others. I mean, I try to. And I always work hard to make others feel comfortable. I think that's so important. It's so important.
That's the thing about the gals who love pink is that chatty, friendly, and fun. I mean, how can you be a glitter gal without being chatty, friendly, and fun? But I think more than anything is that you let other people shine. You love when other people shine.
Oh, yes.
You're comfortable with that. And we all need encouragers in our lives. So you have been brilliant about encouraging others, including me. And I really appreciate that, which is
thank you.
Perfect to go about this thing of joy that we're going to talk about, because the last couple of years, joy is not the first word that comes to my mind. Okay. However, you've learned a lot about joy in this process. So that's what I want to, I wanted to have our conversation today. And I want to start with a really basic question. What is joy? How do you define and describe it? Because we think we know, but maybe we haven't really understood what joy is. So how do you define it?
I define joy as something that we have deep in our spirits. If you go to the dictionaries, you'll find that joy is described as almost like a gladness over an event. And I tend to see that as being more happy, happy about a happening, something that happens. But for us, it's that kind of joy is temporary. I say for us, I'm a Christian life coach, so I work with Christian women. We get our joy from God. And we also, though, it's not just like, oh, God gives us this gift of joy. It's how we live. It's one of the fruits, they call it in the scripture, of living right. And so when you have that deep sense of living right, and I'm not going to define that, you know that you're tracking, you're doing all that you can do. You're in relationship with others, and you are comfortable with who you are. I see joy very multifaceted, but it's a state of being. It's something that's within you, and it is a state. Are we always in joy? I don't know, but for me, I know that it's also a conscious decision that I make.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting about that thing about joy. When the first thing I think of joy, I think of this card I got one time, and on the front of it was this photograph of this little girl. She's like probably 3 or 4 years old, and she's so excited. She's got like excited, clenched fist, and she's like this huge smile on her face because she just caught a fish. Okay, so that's what the picture was. And she just had this exuberance right in her face, and I was like, that just to me captured joy. It might also be like happiness overload because that fish in that moment and what she just accomplished. But there's something about the simplicity I loved of that, is a simple thing she was doing, but it was magical to her, and she was just filled with this what you said, this kind of deep in her spirit exuberance about loving life and about life in that moment. And that's the first thing I think of when it comes to joy. Now, I don't experience that on a moment to moment basis. I have happy times. You talked about being chatty and friendly and fun. I mean, that's kind of that aims towards the positive side of emotions. And joy seems to have something that's a little bit more elevated, a little bit both, deeper and grounded, and also goes higher and doesn't evaporate so quickly. And that's the kind of the sense that I'm getting from you. And it's a choice. Do I want to feel that way again? Do I really have to go fishing as a little 3-year-old girl? No, but how could I get in that space? Right.
Well, the joy probably for the little girl was that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
That sense. So it still was something intrinsic of something that was inside of her.
Yeah.
It was, and the happening would make you happy. I just see it as very different. And how do you maintain joy? Let's talk about the last 2 years. How do you maintain joy when your business is like getting crushed or
the company you're working for, are they still going to be around? Do you get laid off? You get a team. I got to work from home. It's really difficult. And I got kids. I got other distractions. And that there's so many situations.
How do you find joy? So along with the joy is a sense of peace. And when I think of joy, I don't think of it as quiet, something that's just quiet. And scripture tells us that David danced in joy. And that's how I see that joy too, that no matter what's going on today, I can have some joy. I can find some joy within me because I'm choosing joy, that I can find a piece of in my heart, but also a reason to celebrate. Even if it's something that's small, it's also joy is relational. And I like to say it is life transforming. Almost every client I work with, when they get their aha moment and they start, living right by their definition, doing what's good for them, I began, you can see the joy in them. And they can't wait to tell you either that they're doing life different, and it feels so good. They're experiencing that joy.
So when you say relational, they're relating to their own lives differently?
They're relating to God, to themselves, and others.
Different.
So a lot of them, a lot of us women have never even stopped to even think about what would bring me joy, and why don't I have joy? And I'm a Christian. I go to church. I'm working in ministry. I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm miserable. I'm not even not happy. Nothing makes me happy. I have no joy. Mm-hmm. And most of the time it's because, well, number one, they haven't told anybody that because they're a Christian, and that wouldn't sound good. But number two,
we don't want to admit it because we're like, well, then I'm a loser, I guess.
Right. Exactly.
That I frankly don't like to be like shouting at the hilltops, like my weaknesses or the things that are going right in my life.
Or that I'm like, I'm not happy, or that I should be happy and I have God, and, and all of this other craziness that we tell ourselves that keep us down. But as soon as you get into a relationship, and that's, you're a coach, I'm a coach too, that we begin to allow somebody to speak into our life, or them to speak to us and tell us, what their deepest is, that's where the joy begins to come, because we talk about making them comfortable. We provide that space where they can share.
and explore that. It's
Yeah.
okay.
And discover.
Right. And discover.
Yeah. And totally discover.
So that makes me wonder, like this kind of straight up question, is joy something we can create, or is it something that happens to us? Because what you described in like the coaching relationship, which could happen in another kind of relationship of someone who's close and supportive, right? It's like, that almost sounds like a co-creation of joy.
Yes, because and this is my belief, is that joy is created in relationship, and it is not created outside of it. So yes, to your point, if you're not coaching, if I'm not coaching you, right, but you have a community of others, then yes, you are creating joy with on your journey of life. We can't get it to it alone. And even God, even we have God and we say, yes, God, fills me with joy. He's still always directing us to people. That's how Jesus was. Jesus had people around him. He had his disciples, he had his friends. And he wasn't just like a nomad, going on a mountaintop to be with God to find his joy. People brought him joy. What he did brought him joy. And so I think about in the 12-step program, they talk about the joy of right living. So when we have a conscience, and when we know when we're not at our peak, when we're not, we could do better. Not just we could do better. Maybe we're like in self-destructive mode. I think about addictions, of course. Then we know we're not living right. So as soon as we get on the path, begin that journey to recovery, we begin to experience joy. Experience. The scriptures call it the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit means that something's growing, right? It's growing out of right relationship. So when we stay in step with that, and we need people to help us to do that, to encourage us, to support us, to bring us back, to where we need to be. It doesn't mean like that we have to just settle or be happy or, joyful with what we have, because all these dreams and plans and stuff that we have, they're God-given, and we experience joy as we are in the mission to which he's called us, or, the calling, or whatever it is you're doing that is bringing you joy. It's really amazing to know how much joy you can have just by knowing that you're living right and having that relationship with God, yourself, and other people. That brings joy. Gratitude brings joy. Gratitude. I mean, boy, did we not have to lean into gratitude? God, I'm grateful that I didn't run out of toilet paper.
That's
really crazy, but right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm grateful that I can walk. I'm grateful I can put my shoes on, and while everything was locked down, I can still go out, and I can still. I had the phone. I had the Zoom. Thank God for that. So finding reasons to be grateful every day is one way that we can create joy. And in fact, if you read studies on what gratitude does to your body physically, physical manifestations of deep gratitude, you feel good, and you're thankful for where you are right now at this stage.
Well, one of the things, it's the opposite of joy is feeling stressed and so much anxiety.
Oh.
And there's a lot of studies also that show that if you're in that mode a lot, your immune system gets compromised. It gets worn out. And then you more easily get some kind of infection, and you start to, your body doesn't work as well. And so it's interesting how on the one hand, joy and happiness and being in that mental space and that emotional space and spiritual space can heal the body, physical body, as well as the spirit. Then the equal and opposite, if you're always filled or you're in stress and fear and anxiety so much at the time, it wears down your body. You're tired. You get more susceptible to some kind of illness and some kind of needing, and you don't, and it almost spirals down, right? And
absolutely,
when you're not feeling the joy to go, but it sounds like it's almost like gratitude, to focus on gratitude. If I'm not feeling great or my circumstances are really tough, I could choose to at least have gratitude and what I'm grateful for, what's going right, almost like a bridge to get to a more joyful state.
Now, that's why it's so important, we hear all the time, like, do you have a gratitude list? Make your gratitude list. My AA sponsor years and years ago used to say, you can't be hateful if you're feeling grateful. And that made sense.
Phrase.
Oh, yeah, because I was a whiner and a complainer. And so, what are you grateful for today? Just be grateful for something today. Also within that, gratitude is, again, it's a conscious choice. I'm choosing to be grateful. What can I be grateful for today?
Yeah.
Can I be grateful that I didn't spiral all the way down, and that I'm here, that God has lifted me above the fray of the last 2 years, and that I can help others to do that like you do. It's like, that's what it's really about. Where do we get our joy? In relationship, in helping others, and in feeling, like we're doing the right thing.
There are times where joyful people are so irritating. Have you ever experienced that? Like, you want to go, I don't want to have the happy, joy person come into the room, or have this, oh my gosh. Or like, they're always like that it just becomes, are you really real? And I'm just curious, could you speak to that? Like, why is it that there are sometimes that joyful people are just so irritating? What does that say about perhaps us? Or does it have something to say about them?
Well, two things. But that is so funny. Why are you irritating me with your happy, joy? Is because I'm not aligned. I'm not in the right space and time. I'm way out of alignment with myself, with God. And bottom line is, I want what they have. Thankfully, I don't have to live like that anymore. And your listeners out there, I mean, there's all that competition, jealousy, envy, all of that stuff will always bring us to the person who has what we want, but we see them as an irritant. And this is really interesting, but research was done that most people don't trust the always happy, exuberant, laughing person. They just don't trust them.
Yeah, you want to say, that's why I said, are you real? Like,
they don't,
day, right?
They don't see them as authentic.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So if I personally know somebody who is like putting that on, and there's people out there that's how they protect themselves. I get a little uncomfortable with it if I know. Right. If I don't, sometimes we can discern that person has some sadness somewhere, but really what it came out to was, we don't believe you're being authentic, and we think you're just putting it all on. But in either case, it's a heart issue for me. I need to get my heart straight, right?
Yeah, when I experience somebody that is so joyful that I feel this irritation inside, okay, first of all, I ask myself, like, are they real? Like, if I don't know them well, I can't truly ask that question or answer it. Excuse me, I can't really answer that question for sure. But what I often say is, why am I so irritated?
Yes.
What is it about me? How do I need to me, that's a flip the chip moment.
Yeah.
If I go, I want what they have right now. Okay, well, what can I do to get into that state? Because to your point, usually I'm irritated because I'd like to feel how they feel. Whether they authentically feel it or not, what they're projecting, I'd like to feel right now in that moment. And so, I'm not looking to prick their own balloon and take the joy out of the room for them, but I certainly would like to have more of that,
Right.
And it's an effort. Like you said, because now I got to choose differently in my.
Well, and there's also a difference between like the always exuberant person and the person who, has joy and doesn't always have to be out loud. It's our personality. I'm extroverted, so I tend to be, all over and my hands out and everything when I'm in a really good space. But the person who's really joyous is full of kindness and always seeking to make somebody to make everybody comfortable. And really, if you're uncomfortable with my joy, that's on you, right? So, but there's a peace. If we have peace, then that person isn't going to get to us. Even if we say that person's not authentic, even if we know that to be true, it's not going to bug us in any way. It's going to, for me, I'm going to feel a little bit of sympathy for them.
Well, an essential of living like your Neo color is leveraging the power of choice, which is kind of what you were starting to say. And, including how we use our time. In fact, I think that can be a big one. What are some practical ideas that you choose to create moments of joy in your life? Because we might be able to do that too. I always love, what are the real ways that you do to create joy in your life?
I just thought, I have just finished reading a book that you gave me, by the way, called Life is Messy by Matthew Kelly.
Love that book.
And he was talking about joy. In the middle of this book, he talks about joy. And he said to cherish the ordinary, number one. I mean, think about that. Goes along with gratitude. What can I just be grateful for? But to cherish the ordinary in the everyday life. What brings you joy in every day? And he suggested making a list of 20 things that when you experience them, you have a joy, that deep intrinsic joy. And sometimes,
one of mine is a really good cup of dark roast coffee.
See? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or for you, being out in nature on the bike.
On my bike. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, it's being out by the water, anywhere by the water. It's like that brings me peace. Or sitting on my back porch in my rocker with a good cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. Those kind of things. So make a list of 20 things. Reading books. I love reading. I take the time to do that. The second thing.
Well, let me just, so when he said cherish the ordinary, it's 20 ordinary things, not 20 extraordinary mega trips around the world.
No.
Things, right?
Cherish the everyday ordinary. Again, is a daily conscious choice. We wake up. Do we choose joy?
Okay. All right.
For us who believe God, believers and are Christians, especially as women, we have 150 things going on in any given day. So, God, can you just make me joyful through all of it? That's how I pray in the morning. So I get up in the morning, just make me joyful through all of it, including the things that go on that I don't want to go on. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then the second thing is bringing joy to others. Bringing joy to others brings you joy. It's infectious. Joy is infectious. It's be the one who is there whenever, in whatever capacity you can be when somebody, needs you or you see a need, or just do something kind for somebody. This whole thing about pay it forward and, be kind and all that. That's in the scripture. That's how we're supposed to be.
One of the things that really still intersects my world, my day-to-day, gets my attention, that brings me joy, that is when I get in the postal mail an unexpected card.
Yes.
From someone.
Yes.
And they might be thanking me for something, or they may just say, you were on my mind, or they'll say something, I appreciate you. And I save them all. I just save them all because that is so meaningful. I love this tip and this idea, because what I'm hearing in this is being proactive and thinking about doing something for another person. And by doing that, that's going to make them feel good. That's going to give them a moment of joy. We get a moment of joy. So even
Absolutely.
if I don't know they're having a problem, or even if I don't know that they're struggling with something, just do something unexpected to them.
Well, and that's the paradox of giving joy. You give joy, you get joy. That's how it works. That's the world. That's our spiritual world.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a good infectious disease.
I was using the word contagious, and I thought, oh, not in these days, but infectious. Yes. And the third thing is to stay centered on, focused on God through prayer. through prayer, meditation, for me as a Christian woman, and I suggest this to to anybody, is that the more time you spend in that quietness, in that meditation, reading scriptures, communion with God, you get your joy cup. I call it you get your joy cup filled. You're not like all over the place and thinking about 150 things to do. If I don't do this is me, because it's how I am wired. If I don't do this daily, then I feel myself going down. I feel myself not experiencing that joy. And what happens is, instead of being in a state of gratitude and joy, I start to look at what's not right. Like, let's go back 2 years and like talk about everything that wasn't right. Let me go down that memory lane instead of focusing on the here and now, on what's right.
So for you, this kind of prayer time is not dutiful as much as it is, I want to have it so that my cup gets filled, so that I get this time is so precious, because it could easily be taken of, I have to do my prayers. I'm not hearing that at all. I'm hearing
there's no joy in that.
There's no joy. Yeah, I was just there is no joy in that. Okay, so yeah. I'm just gonna there's a gal listening right now, and she's like, how do I even pray? Like, how do I even do this? Because it can seem very intimidating. And I've got to have the right words, but I don't think that's what it's about, right?
No, I've thrown out everything I've ever learned about praying, and this is really how I counsel women who feel like they've been far away from God, or feel like God doesn't love them. Or I said, just talk to them, just have a conversation, just and say, hey, God, here, see me, do you see me? This is what I need. This is where I'm at right now. And then thank him at the end of all that, because he has heard you. He has heard you. But prayer is not just, saying, oh, I got to sit down now and I got to kneel down on my knees. No. Prayer is like in my car. Prayer is, this morning I was in my car, and I was turned on the radio, and somebody was talking about something that I had been praying to God about. And it was this pastor, and I thought, thank you, God, because he knew I prayed that morning that I needed some help in that area, and there it was. Wow. I was joy-filled. I almost started crying.
Oh. Yeah. Well, and so prayers is a conversation, right?
Absolutely.
It's having a conversation. And I love that, because I don't want to be irreverent about it, but I also think that sometimes the reverence can remove some of that intimacy.
And I'm not talking about churchy prayers. So.
Yeah, no. So when we're going through hard stuff, we want that friend we can talk to.
Yes.
And this thing of, you've got a friend in God all the time. And that's not necessarily what everyone has experienced. But you have, right. Once you get there, and that has not always been the case, I know, for you.
Oh, no.
But my point is that I just want to acknowledge that, this is not a stilted kind of thing. This is a soulful, good friend kind of sensation in a way. But
it's relationship.
Yeah, again, relationship, right.
That's where we get our joy. We get our joy in relationship, which brings me to the last thing, is to how you leverage, is to build a community of, I call them joy chasers. And this is one of the best things that ever happened in my life. And you're a joy chaser. So I'm really, I'm always happy to connect with you, because I have joy in you, and you fill my cup. So I mean, that's what we have to do.
I didn't even know you had this community. It's a secret community that now is out. Okay. It's way different than the storm chasers, right? Who go out.
No, it's the joy chasers.
I know. I love that.
But you need those people. So it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. And it's a group of Christian women, and we are not all, we're totally authentic. Now that is something, when you can build that kind of trust in a group of 8 women, and we're sharing things, and I'm like, why did I say that? and we give each other the time, we give each other the energy and the space and the honesty to allow others to experience joy. And I mean that you have to know truth. You need to be in healing mode. I mean, it's a process, you're not going to be healed overnight, but to be in this process of healing, to become whole, to get past your past, and to learn how to live in the present. That's where you get, that's where hope comes from. That's where destiny comes from. It's like, oh my gosh, you do all of that in community. And I mean, I'm so grateful to this group of women. First, I was like, I don't have time for this. And to be really transparent, I like to be the leader.
And you had to maybe not be the leader so much, right? I'm a contributor.
No, I wasn't the leader. I'm not the leader at all. I'm a participant under the leadership of this woman who understands joy, the concept of joy, and how to live it, and how to live in God's care. And that's, I mean, I didn't even know I was looking for it. I just was going to support her. Oh my Lord. It's just has changed everything in my life.
Wow.
But it's really reinforced the fact that we all need community.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So those are some really practical tips about adding more joy. And I wanted to ask you a question that really speaks to the gal listening who might be going, yeah, this is really nice for you, Yolanda, and you too, Mary, but I don't really deserve joy in my life. What would you say to her?
I would say it's a gift. Do we deserve gifts? I don't know. I everything that I have in my life today, I don't. I believe that the only reason why I deserve anything is because I made a choice and I decided to stop living the life I was living and turned it off. And because of that, the gifts came. I don't know about deserve. I'm not even sure. I don't know about that word. Because joy is a gift. It's something that's given to you, and it's something you sustain by staying on the path. When I say right living, I'm not talking all, do this, do that, do this. I'm talking about, what's right to do. What you want to, what you want to do. If you begin to understand that the way you've been living has been destructive. It's not good anymore. It's not working. And then as you make that decision to step out, you choose. You don't know at the point you're choosing joy. You're just choosing to change your life. And then the joy comes. So maybe as a byproduct, as a fruit of the Spirit, and Galatians 5:22 talks about the fruits of the Spirit. As you walk with God, as you're in right relationship with God, yourself and others, you get it. I don't know about deserve. What do I deserve? I know what I deserved before I turned my life around. I got it too. None of it good.
None of it was. Yeah. And I asked that because I think that, and myself coming from a place of earning,
Oh, yes.
earn, my degrees, not degrees, like I'm over degreed. But anyway, I'd earn my way through school, I'd earn a living working in an organization. I earn my clients by, creating value for them. There is earning that happens, but then it's, well, do I deserve any of this? Do I deserve happiness? Well, I do if I've done all these things. Well, what if I've really gotten off track in my life? What if I've never gotten on a good track because I've had a really hard past? What if I've had something traumatic happen and being dredged up, particularly these last 2 years, and and it's rearing its ugly head, so to speak, and staring and saying, and other people in my life that I've known, in fact, for a long time, and go, yeah, you've been a bad person. You don't deserve it. Look what you've done. And then you go, I know this isn't working anymore. This path I'm on is not serving me. It's certainly not serving others. And I feel like crap, basically, and it can be easy to accept that's just the way it is. Look how much I've screwed up.
Oh, no.
What I'm hearing you go is it's not about, but if you change from It's not whether you deserve it or not. It's that there is another option. And that is an option and a path of joy ultimately, but of an alignment with the real who you are. And this is where I really do think that we skip over, or we may dismiss, the redemptive aspect of God, who knows all of our stuff and says, love you anyway.
And are you feeling deserving? Do you feel deserving of that? You shared something right now. You said, I did this, I earned a degree, I earned my jobs, I earned my money. That's right. You did stuff to do it. Yeah. I'm saying that, and you got the fruits of that, right? You got the fruits of the work that you did. I'm saying is that there's nothing that you could have ever done in your life that is not redemptive by God, by God's gift of grace to you. Joy comes as part of that grace. And I think Galatians 5:22 does speak to that. It's God's grace as you are walking spiritually in spiritual light. I'd put it like that. That you begin to experience joy. And I guess, well, did I earn it? Well, I did the things that, it was a byproduct. I just wanted to feel better. I just wanted to change my life. But here I am. I have this joy. I have peace. I have hope. I'm living my life different, and it feels good. All of that comes. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And the relationships. Wow. I realize it could sound easier than it is. And that's why I appreciate the work that you do, working with individual women, working with groups of women, kind of being in the trenches with them of where they're at. So I just want to say that for the record. I've always admired that about you, Yolanda.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have to wrap up. As we think about living like our nail color, which can bring us slight moments of joy, right? Or remind us in that joyful direction. If you could create a nail color name that any of us could use to create more joy, to remind us of the joy in our lives, what would that name be?
Well, this one just came. Thank you, God. I just got this downloaded a while ago, yesterday, but it would be called "In the Pink" with an exclamation, because, "in the pink" is an old idiom from the Old English word, and what it meant was optimal health or perfect condition. When you're in the pink, you got optimal health. So joy brings that kind of health to your body, your mind, and your soul. So in the pink is like perfect description.
Yeah.
For joy.
I love it. And pink is your favorite color.
Absolutely.
Think about that. Interesting how all these things kind of come around. All right. Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, this has just been really a lot of fun. Very insightful. A lot that you've given me to think about, again, too, around joy. For those who would like to learn more about you, Yolanda, what you're up to, what you're kind of doing in the world, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, you can go to my website, yolandagray.com, and then my email is yolanda@yolandagray.com. I'm on Facebook, Yolanda Gray, and you can come right into my group if you'd like, called #TakeBackYourLife. And I do a lot of video on sharing about the Christian life and how we can actually learn to live John 10:10, life and life more abundant.
I love that. What we'll do is we'll put all those links in the show notes. People can find you, but I do want to make sure that people understand that Gray, your last name is Gray.
Correct.
Grey. And there's probably another Yolanda Gray out there, I don't know, that has an E in her name. And I didn't want people to get mixed up on that one. So, but anyway, I'll put all the links below, and it'll be super simple to find.
Well, if you Google me on Google, I come up first.
Yay!
I love that one.
Yolanda Gray. All right.
Yeah.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for helping us to live our nail color in the spirit of joy.
Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, I hope you loved that conversation with my sweet gal pal, Yolanda. Her glitter gal was really showing as she shed light on how to create more moments of joy for ourselves and others. Did you catch her 4 specific tips? Well, in this Flip the Chip segment, I want to highlight one tip that Yolanda shared that you can do starting today to flip moments of sadness, worry, and malaise into more moments of joy. And that tip is cherish the ordinary. She suggested making a list of 20 ordinary things you're grateful for and referring to it every day. So after the podcast, I decided to make a list. And you know what I found? Well, I found that the first few were easy. And then I had to think. I thought, wow, how easy I gloss over the good, ordinary stuff in my life and give more time lamenting my to-do list. But I kept at it. And so I want to share with you my first 10. Number 1, a cup of hot, dark roasted coffee. 2, a really good night's sleep. Number 3, sitting on my balcony, seeing the sun and the trees. Number 4, riding my bike, just about anywhere. Number 5, homemade peanut butter on toast. I make my own peanut butter and I love it. Number 6, making dinner with Bill with a little kitchen dancing. Number 7, music. Fun music to get me going, like Latin jazz, grooving music when I'm working, and soothing music to help me fall asleep, like ocean sounds. Number 8, any conversation with friends, family, or clients that's filled with meaningful interaction and laughter. Number 9, a glass of crisp white wine. And number 10, my nail color, whether it's a solid color, a nail design, or even totally naked. Now that's just 10. So I've got 10 more to come up with. But what I noticed is that some of these are in my control, some aren't, and others I can influence. But like Yolanda said, joy is a gift. And this list helps me more consciously receive these simple, ordinary gifts throughout my day. And I encourage you to create your own list and refer to it often, especially those times when you're not feeling so joyful, but you can get there. And why not make one of your 20 wearing a fun color on your fingers or toes to cheer you on? Pick a fave color or maybe a new one and give it the name In the Pink, which Yolanda shared means optimal health or perfect condition. And whenever you see your fingers or toes, let them remind you that joy is at the tips of your fingers or toes. You can choose to take however you're feeling right now and focus on what you can do to change your life, one step, one nail color at a time. Look forward to being with you next time on the Live Like Your Nail Color podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Live Like Your Nail Color podcast. Ready to live and laugh more? Know a friend who could use some of that too? Then subscribe at liveLikeYourNailColor.com or your favorite podcast app and share this episode right now with the person who popped into your mind. Together, let's flip the chip to be stronger, smarter, and happier.